Ready to go? Okay.
All right, we are going to start this meeting. Let me turn this ringer off
Good point.
because my phone will kick off going. So I want to first thank everybody for being here. This is our actually I believe our first meeting of 23, and so I think it's safe to say that. And I know we've had very few actual charter meetings this year, and that's not unintentional. We want to make sure that the work that we're doing is not somebody else's work, and that we're focused on the things that we can actually change, the things that we're actually responsible for, and not the things that the district or the superintendent or someone else should be responsible for. And I want to make sure that we're spending a large 50% of our time focusing on kids, and then the other 50% we can do business. This is a business moment, and I believe we have some business in front of us. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to Karina, who will guide us through this part of the meeting.
Thank you, Director Green. Welcome. So today's meeting, it's very prescribed, as you had just referenced, Director Green, about the business aspect. So we're going to tend to two aspects of charter business, which is a facilities update, and then just what's our responsibility to update when there's changes in facilities of our schools. So we will do that today. And then also a charter renewal process, and specifically with Lamont Charter Schools application update. And head of school Shuka is here, so she can she can also share a lot, I'm sure, about kids. And then we'll have public comment and call it a day.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get it.
Okay. So we just want to honor our place and space. So as we are on native land, the land that we currently in our district is on is the traditional lands of the Cowlitz, the Kathlamet, Siletz, bands of Chinook, and the Multnomah, Grand Ronde. And one thing I'd just say with regard to place and space is we really are working to make our land acknowledgements authentic and personable and relevant. And I would just say with regard to our tribal history, shared history curriculum, every month there's 9 essential understandings that we're working on. And this month it is identity. So we're looking at identity from a native lens. And I'll also just share a bit of good news, it was just announced that the Delta Park Powwow, which is one of the largest powwows in the Pacific Northwest, will be in person again for the first time in many years, June 16th and 18th. So the Native community is very excited at this moment. And that's a big place where you go and see a lot of Native identity. So I'll just share that. All right, I'm going to hand it over to Miss Director Tara O'Neill.
Thank you. Thanks, Karina. So we have good news. If you recall, the last facilities update we gave, there initially were going to be 2 schools whose leases were running out this year.
Correct.
And we had some concerns. At the last update, we were able to say that one of those schools had signed a lease in the new facility. Correct. And now we can announce that Portland Village School, the second school, has also signed a sales agreement to purchase a facility in the Southwest waterfront. So this has been a long search for them, and they're looking forward to being able to.
That's awesome.
That. They were able to extend their current lease agreement 1 more year while they do the improvements and other things necessary for the facility. And they hope to and plan to move into the new facility sometime during the 2024 calendar year.
That is fantastic.
Very exciting.
So no changes in enrollment with regard to one of the things we're doing right now is we're doing staffing. So there's no facility change for next year with regard to Portland Village. And so as far as are we shifting, is it going to have an impact on other schools, which is one question that often comes up. Will there be more 3rd graders attending a different school or such questions like that the board receives sometimes? The answer is no, because this is still a year out.
Okay.
Okay, and we'll go right into our renewal process. Okay, so we're going to share with you some information All the information is on the board website. There's multiple documents that are printed here if people would like to have them. We're just summarizing the board memo that was sent, and again, it has been posted on the charter school renewals. So just some of the information we want to highlight is that sponsors of charter schools in Oregon are responsible for evaluating charter school performance and determining whether or not to renew the contract of the charter school based on its compliance with the law and the contract and its performance in 3 domains: academic, financial, and organizational. Charter school renewal evaluation includes a review of annual performance reports, annual finance audits, annual site visits, and any other information mutually agreed upon by the sponsor and the charter school. The annual performance framework and report is the tool we use to formalize this review. And then the statute provides a really clear criteria for charter school renewal. That's ORS 338.065. So in that, it states multiple areas. So under 8A, it says the sponsor shall base the charter school renewal decision on a good faith evaluation of whether the public charter school is, and then it lists several criteria, is in compliance with this chapter and all other applicable state and federal laws. If the charter school is in compliance with the charter of the public charter school. If the charter school is in compliance and is meeting or working towards meeting the student performance goals and agreements specified in the charter or any other written agreements between the sponsor and the public charter school's governing body. If it's fiscally stable and has used the sound fiscal management system described in the proposal submitted under ORS 338.045 and incorporated into the written charter under this section. We evaluate, is the charter in compliance with any renewal criteria specified in the charter of the public charter school? And lastly, the sponsor shall base the renewal evaluation described in paragraph above of this subsection primarily on the review of a public charter school's annual performance reports, annual audit of accounts, and annual site visit, and review as required by ORS 338.095 and any other information mutually agreed upon by the public charter school governing body and the sponsor. So these are it's very prescribed around what takes place in a renewal process and how we evaluate and assess. And then for the timeline for the charter school renewal.
So the timeline is also pretty prescribed by statute for the charter renewal. Statute sets the timeline and processes around when contract dates are due, and then the district sets the specific dates and formats for those dates. So our timeline requires that the charter school give us their completed renewal application by January 2nd. And we require that because statute says 180 days before contract expires, which is June 30th. So that's why that is done at that time. Within 45 days after we receive that application, we have to hold the public hearing. So we have already scheduled the public hearing for Lamont for February 15th. So that's that piece of the statute covered. And then within 30 days after that public hearing, the board must vote on the renewal also per statute. Next slide. We have already scheduled that full board vote for the March 7th board meeting. Results of that timeline, if the school board votes to approve, then the renewal contract negotiations begin and the new charter contract would begin July 1 of 2023. If the sponsoring school board votes to deny, then the renewal applicant is given the reasons for that denial and a reasonable time to address the concerns. If the sponsoring school board votes to deny again, then there's also a robust appeal process that the charter school can go through the state as well.
Okay. And then specifically, so that's kind of all the overview. And now we're going to get specific into speaking about the specific school being reviewed. So Lamont French Immersion Charter School is a K-8 charter school located in Portland's close-in east side, serving about 375 students. Lamont is a full French immersion program using educational practices and curriculum from around the world. As much as possible, Lamond employs native French speakers as teachers. Lamond's mission is to educate children in a French immersion environment that honors the best international academic traditions and develops students who are inquisitive, reflective, communicative, and caring. Some unique features of Lamond's program beyond language immersion include an extended school year with at least 180 days of instruction and a school day with 30 minutes longer than the average district school day. In addition to instruction in French and English language, the school offers additional language instruction in Spanish beginning in 3rd grade, as well as a rich arts and PE program.
A little history, Lamond opened in 2012. It's in its 11th year of operation. Lamond successfully applied for charter renewals in 2015 and in 2018. The school is currently operating under a 5-year charter agreement, which will terminate on June 30th, 2023. Lamond has formally submitted the application for renewal of its charter with the district. The renewal term per statute shall be for a minimum of 5 years, but may not exceed 10 years. Lamond has requested a 10-year renewal of its charter, consistent with the 3rd renewal terms of other established charter schools sponsored by PPS. Next slide. Some highlights of this current latest renewal term at Lamond. Lamond's plans at the last renewal to implement the IB program were successful, as Lamond has been recognized as an IB World School in the primary years program. Since graduating its first 8th grade class in 2020, Lamond has awarded pre-9th grade high school French credit to 100% of its graduating students. 50% of their 8th grade students earned 4 years of high school credit, 43% earned 3 years of high school credit, and the remaining 7% earned 2 years of high school credit. So it's some strong language credits. Additionally, 93% of the 8th grade students who have graduated since 2020 have earned pre-9th grade high school algebra credit as well. Lamond's academic assessment averages at all grades regularly meet or exceed the district averages and the state targets. And Lamond consolidated during this last term from 2 locations to a single location where there's room for all grades with a dedicated middle school building, allowing for some advantages of economies of scale for the school. Additionally, the school navigated the unexpected move to online learning, as well as sudden changes in the availability of international travel for native French-speaking staff during the pandemic without experiencing significant enrollment declines. Some considerations for this future renewal term: the student population at Lamond reflects lower representation of students of historically underserved students and economically disadvantaged students than the district as a whole. And due to those small student numbers, it's difficult to disaggregate achievement data for all student groups with statistical significance. A request from Lamond for this particular upcoming renewal contract, Lamond has requested continued agreement to award pre-9th grade high school credit for French and Spanish based on results of STAMP tests, which is the assessment used by PPS as well as for pre-9th grade credit for algebra. Charter schools, as schools of choice, continue to work toward attracting student populations that are reflective of the district's population. Lamond's enrollment does reflect significantly less racial diversity than district averages. Lamond has posted translated enrollment information as well as made hard copy brochures available in all the district supported languages to broaden its outreach to English language learners. One positive result of Lamond's outreach is that the incoming kindergarten class for this school year showed an increase in ELL students, that their incoming kindergarten class is 12% students. Lamond's continued work is to broaden its outreach to historically underserved communities, resulting in a more diverse student population. Oh yeah, this one, sorry. So we did the applicable data review from Oregon Report Card, Annual Performance Framework, and Site Visit. We reviewed the years of municipal audits and also PPS dashboard data. and the Charter Schools Office can report there are no compliance concerns with the charter contract, charter law, or applicable state or federal laws. Lamont regularly meets or exceeds both district and state student performance targets. Lamont's annual municipal audits consistently return a clean audit report with no material weaknesses. And organizational standards regarding governance and school accountability are consistently met. For next steps in the process, the public hearing, as we said earlier, is scheduled for February 15th. Public hearing generally consists of a short school presentation and then public comment in support or in opposition, and then questions from board committee members. And then based on the information from this work session and the public hearing, the board committee may request further information and or will make a recommendation to the board. And as stated earlier, the board vote is scheduled for March 7th.
So when they come out, are they going to be, they're bringing kids with them, I'm presuming?
Don't know.
I mean, I can't think of a reason as to why I would want to say no at this point. But, you know, I just want to make sure if they do come out that we have a translator, because I don't speak French at all. I think the only thing I know is Je m'appelle or something like that. And that's like my name is. And that was the bulk of my French class. So of all the time that I spent there, the only thing I can walk away with my name is, and that's it. So I
So
think
you'd be surprised if you were to go and stand in a kindergarten class, and I know this because I did it, suddenly you understand, oh, they just said the word for raccoon. I know the word for raccoon.
oh, that is so cool.
Oh, they just, so you pick things up.
gotta
It
do
is
that.
true.
I gotta
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Suddenly
That'll be good.
you know some French.
But yes, typically the school, I don't want to put you on the spot, Shuka, but typically the school will represent, it's a window into the school in the parent community, the staff community, the student community, and I make the assumption that'll happen.
And our average kindergartner will blow away your French then.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Oh, that's beautiful. No, thank you.
So that's really our process to date with regard to charter school renewal, as we share with you and the other school board members, our process, the information we've received to date. We share if we have any concerns, which we do not, and then we move forward in the process and are very happy to answer any questions if you have them today or in the future.
Sounds good. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't move forward. So
Great. Okay, so that is really was what we had on the agenda, and then we're at public comment.
public comment time.
Do
we have anyone, Ms. Kara, do we have anyone for public comment?
We do. One person can't be here till 2 though.
Well, I'm not sitting and waiting for 30 minutes. Can we send them a note to say that, hey, we're getting close, and then make them second or something, or?
They were in a meeting till 2.
Oh,
The meeting was scheduled from 1 to 2:30, so.
that sucks egg.
It's a shorter
Can they send
meeting. Or do you want to maybe send a text and just inquire?
Yeah, they might have to like mail it in or something,
Yeah.
because I'm definitely not going to sit and wait for 30 minutes. Or
Fair enough.
we can all leave after the public comment, and then I can jump online somewhere and they can tell me separately. But I guarantee you, there's not a lot of things in life I can guarantee. This is one of them. Herman Green is not going to be sitting here till 2 o'clock waiting.
I think we can, I can send an email and then we can have, Jeremy Farron go.
Yeah,
And we can also.
maybe Joe will talk slow. Joe, can I get you to talk real slow? Because I'll sit and listen if he talks slow. And if it takes him 30 minutes to get it out, then so be it. It takes him 30 minutes to get it out. But if it don't,
We'll communicate back with this person.
okay.
That's not gonna happen.
Okay, well, I tried. Nobody can say I didn't try. All right, Mr. McFerrin.
So, yeah, Joe McFerrin, President and CEO, Portland OIC and Rosemary Anderson High School. I just have one thing to convey. Well, I have multiple things to convey, but one thing that I'm adamant about. First and foremost, I would like to recognize the work that PPS and POIC have done over the years to help struggling students get through school and get onto the business of self-sufficiency. And over the years, I've always felt like the district at least listened. And I think in the last decade, I would say that the district has leaned in around this work. So I've mentioned this a few meetings ago that, we are struggling with enrollment, and in a drastic way, for the first time, I think in the history of our relationship. We usually have historically gone over, maybe the last few years we've come up short but if you go back, we built up, we probably started off back in the day with 35 slots, and now we're up to 300 slots as an example. So we've didn't quite exceed our contract maybe the last 5 years, but got close. But because of the pandemic and the violence, it has really, really hit us hard. Really hard. And fortunately, we've been able to utilize some of the CARE Act funds and other foundation funds, corporations, individuals to kind of close that gap, maintain high service levels in the classroom, even though enrollment has gone down drastically. But, now we're getting to the point where, okay, those days are over with respect to the additional kinds of supports we've been seeing. The handwriting's on the wall. And so I am concerned that our low enrollment and the resources that we have been able to secure through serving students will impact our model in the future. And so I don't want that to happen. I think it makes sense for us to have 5 or 4 different high school locations because we serve people who don't get along with each other. And we don't want to bring them all into the same location. So, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Just to put it in perspective, in 2020, from September through December, our number was average student number was approximately 300 average. And actually it's more than that. Bottom line is the difference between enrollment 2020, the first 4 months of school, versus enrollment this year, first semester, let's just call it first semester, equates to about a $7,000 a day deficit in terms of number of students served. So every single day that we provide services, compared to 2020, we're not earning $7,000 per day. So, but good news, we're trending upward slowly. I say all that, and I think eventually we're going to exceed even where we started. I think that's where this is going. Eventually, at some point. But that leads me to what I'm adamant about. And that is the student investment account. The district has an opportunity to help a POIC, in my opinion, through those dollars with respect to equity. It would help POIC, Rosemary Anderson High School, maintain service levels while we get through this blip in terms of enrollment. So on a practical level, it would help. We'd be able to serve more kids when they return. But in terms of equity for all CBOs who serve students who fit the sweet spot of the intended population, we'd like to see that number and that allocation closer to what, or actually the number that we're proposing, which is similar to the number we proposed back in 2019. So Director Green, the expectation is that you will help make that happen.
What was the number, Joe?
2.7 for all the CBOs.
And what have you been told it's going to be?
I haven't been told anything. Last year, I think it was, what was that number last year?
Considerably lower, but we didn't find out until late July.
When do we find out? Maybe you didn't find out because we didn't find out. Does anybody know when we find out?
We have projections right now for next year. If I understand correctly, no, we don't. We are waiting on projections for next year. And you are correct that we didn't find out as a district, and that was part of what has slowed it.
So we can't give projections because we don't have them. So are we saying that we don't currently have accurate numbers that we can give to them, or do we have numbers that we can give to them and we're still trying to flesh stuff out and haven't communicated that to them? I'm just trying to figure out. This is simple. This is communication. This is talking about where we're at, what we have. All the numbers are low. I know Joe is not asking us to pay him for students that he doesn't have.
No, absolutely not. That's what's killing us. That's that $7,000 a day.
Right. So if we're not asking to be paid for students that we don't have, and we're simply asking for an equitable allocation, then I think it just comes down to let's find out exactly where we're at, because we can't give you information that we don't know.
Yeah.
But we should be giving you information as we know. I would think that that's happening. Is that happening? So as we find out information, are y'all able to reach out with, say Norberto and his team, and what's the communication there? Who has that answer?
So Tara and Erica can both respond in part to this. So we have been waiting on, we do not currently have estimates.
Okay.
So we are waiting on information, and part of what has been a challenge is that the timeliness of getting information from the state has been delayed. And I would defer to more specific comments to Tara or Erica if you want to add to that.
Part of why the state holds back on the estimations is because it's based on ADMW counts from the prior year, and they are adjusting that up until a certain point of this school year, and then they have the ADMW counts for last year. So it's an interesting delay, and it takes a while to get that information. So ODE is consistently sending out updates that don't give us a number.
So they base a number based off of last year's numbers.
Correct.
And then based off of last year's numbers, not our current numbers, they allocate they allocate dollars to a specific, that are supposed to be used for a specific funding source.
And they're allocated to the entire district.
To the entire district. And then from that, sure that we have a calculation, a tool, a model that we dump numbers in to spell out exactly how much is going to go to each one of our people or something like that.
That would be something that,
There's always a spreadsheet somewhere.
yeah, I think more clarity, I think that's been an area of need, is kind of more clarity around what goes into determining that allocation for our CPA.
I think that's what got us in the issue the last time where we had to give out money. Well, come back and we tried to say that it was something else. We tried to say that it was a one-time thing. But what it was in reality, when we pulled back the layers enough, it was people got put into a pot that weren't necessarily supposed to be in a pot, and then they got moved to the proper spot so that we don't have to have that issue again moving forward. So as it stands right now, I believe that everybody is where they're supposed to be. So if everybody is where they're supposed to be, but again, this is,
I think we're waiting on more information, and
Okay.
so we can keep people apprised of what information we have and what information we don't have. I think part of what I'm hearing from Mr. McFerrin is also when we get the information, like what is the SIA plan for the district? It sounds like is something they want information for, is what I'm understanding. I don't know that that's necessarily been determined as we're currently in the budgeting process. And we're
it sounded like
waiting
he
for
was
some
asking,
information.
was the SIA plan for CBOs?
Right.
The partners specific, not just the district, specifically the partners. I mean, I want to be
And
clear.
To me, I mean, for full transparency, it's just interesting to me. If I'm running a corporation, we've got legislation that says this is what it's driven by the legislature. So to me, it should be fairly easy to follow how the resources are going to the target population. It should, I mean, it should be. I mean, when I have to report to the Department of Labor, I have to, or the state, I have to tell them where the money's going and how I'm gonna meet the objectives.
Yeah.
And so what I'm suggesting is it would be helpful, but I don't wanna get too much into school district's business, but you know, how do you figure out where you put the resources? So if you get
We got a whole team, Joe, that's their job.
$38 million, which is
Mhm.
not a lot in the big, this is
Right,
chunk-
in the
this
grand
is
scheme
chunk
of things.
change in the grand scheme of
In the
things.
grand scheme of things.
It should, to me, you should be able to easily follow the money to the target population.
No doubt.
And
Not arguing.
evaluate whether or not the results have been met.
Not
And
arguing.
Up to this time, it's been very difficult to see that real clearly. And so what we tried to do is say, okay, we're not gonna get into district business, but we just guesstimate that 30% of the students fit the criteria. So we tried to come up with a way to allocate resources to kind of, I mean, it's not for all students. I mean, let's be clear. There's some very clear, once again, Black kids, poor kids get lumped into all kids. And my understanding of the Student Success Act, the Student Investment Act portion is, or investment account, there's some priorities around kids of color, disability, et cetera. That's not 100% of the students at PPS. So to me, it should be easy to follow, and it hasn't been easy to follow or easy to track how the resources are being allocated. And I might add, as a taxpayer, I'm voting, when I get my tax bill,
Mhm.
I have PPS all, you know, it's all in there. And I've supported and said yes to the buildings, and, you know, we left the building thing off the table, the special ed, all that, our other concerns. We just want to hone in on ensuring that as we move forward to next fall, that the allocation is something that we can all be proud of.
Well, I want to first say thank you for your continued vote. Because as a community member, we need your vote. we need you advocating for us and from a legislative perspective, because we do need more dollars. Money has been short coming down the pipe, and when the money gets tight, then everybody starts looking at everything. When you start squeezing it, then we want to make sure that we're squeezing the right places and that we're not taking away from those that need it the most and those that were intended to receive the funding that is coming down. So, no, what you're saying is fair. So I'm not arguing and I'm not saying that you're wrong. What I am saying is that although it may be hard for me to understand or for me to see, or for you or some others to see, we have people in the district that their whole job is to not be confused by what they see. Their whole job is to be able to spell out specifically, this is where the money went, this is how much came in, this is why we put it there, and this is how we make sure that we are meeting whatever the criteria is, so that from a state perspective, a legislative perspective, that we know that we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do. So although I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm saying that it's somebody else's job to understand it. We need to make sure as a school district, as a partner, that we're vividly clear, especially when the times are tight and we're squeezing the wallet, that we're vividly clear about what we're doing with our resources and why we feel they meet the criteria. And I believe that if we can do that, then I believe that we can get to that place where everybody is proud of what we do, because at least we understand the why behind what we're doing, and we can vividly see that this is where it went, and we can vividly show that this is how we made sure that this money that was for this specific group of people went there. And I believe we got the people in the building. Well, maybe not in this room, but we definitely got the people in the district that can do that. And I'm sure we'll be doing that for us. So I don't have an answer for you outside of saying that the people that need to provide that clarity, I guarantee you at some point are listening to this message and they're watching this video. They're probably looking at it from somewhere else right now online saying, why would he just put us out there like that?
No,
But I'm putting them out there because I know that they can come back with the right answers.
Absolutely. And that's why I prefaced my long-winded response in trying to make an assist to the person who's supposed to be here at 2 o'clock.
We're waiting.
Well, let me finish. That's why I said, I prefaced it with, that's why I always want to acknowledge that the district has been there for. I mean, I want to say, I want that to be the last. Yeah, I'm beating up on you a little bit right here, but the district has always been there, and the staff has always been supportive, and on and on and on. But we do have a request.
And we heard it. Yes, sir, Tom.
Well,
You should state your name for the record. I think I'm supposed to say that. State your name for the record.
Tom DeJardin, Executive Director at Mount Scott Learning Center. Just to clarify, I've been in touch with the colleague of the person who's supposed to give public testimony at 2, and he had told him that the meeting goes to 2:30, and you'll be at the end. But he is available at 2. But I told them that he probably won't get on. But I also found out too, this person who's
Appreciate that, Tom.
this person who's a director at PCC involved with the CBO programs, he's going to provide public testimony at the Tuesday board meeting. So
Okay.
if we don't get him today, it'll be shared on Tuesday night. And also just a kind of a clarification about the student investment account. The CBO proposal that's before the board and the district leaders, that is built on a projection that we received from the SIA coordinator at the Department of Education. I was just trying to get a confirmation of if the projected allocation that the district is building their budget on now is correct, and she said it is correct. I mean, it's what comes out of Salem over the next couple of months or a couple of weeks is up in the air right now. But I know the superintendent, I know district leaders are already building a budget based on a proposed allocation for the student investment account, and that's what we've built our proposal. So Just want to clarify that.
And thank you for just throwing the source out there. You went straight to the top to find out if the information that we were getting was fair and could be weighed on, and they came back and said yes.
Yes.
All right, well, it is what it is. So now you know what we know, and we're working on it. And we always, we keep out there. Stuff could change. We don't want it to change, but stuff could change. They come back and say, no, we lied to y'all. It ain't gonna be that much. It's gonna be this, based on something or another. And I'm sure, like, y'all ever seen the movie Armageddon? I'm a movie guy. I love movies. When Bruce Willis and NASA came in and they were asking him to do it, and he was like, "You're NASA, for God's sake. You should have a room full of people, thinking about this, and then a room full of people backing them up, and a room full of other people just backing them up. You're NASA, for God's sake." That's how I feel about this. We're the school district. I'm sure we got a room full of people that's just thinking about stuff. And then we got a whole nother room full of people that's just backing them up in case they were wrong. And so all that to say, I want to put a level of confidence in that we're going to look at every dollar that's coming across the table, and we're going to examine it, and we're going to weigh it, and we're going to make sure that every dollar that we receive from whatever portfolio it comes from, the state and everywhere else, that we're using those dollars, one, appropriately, and that it's going for the students that it's supposed to be going towards, and that in all of this, we're going to be intentionally working to build up our school community. And so none of this is designed to take away from anybody or to shortchange anyone or to make sure that we're covered, because realistically, the way that we operate is that the CBOs aren't just another group that's out there. The charter schools aren't just another group that's out there. That we're all part of this district serving our students, because every kid that y'all serve is literally a part of our district, whether they're in the alternative school, the charter school, or traditional school. They're all part of our district, and we have a responsibility to all of them. And I know that the rest of my colleagues on the board and the rest of my colleagues, staff in the district feel the same way. So we weigh every dollar appropriately to make sure that everybody is getting what they need, and that nobody is left out there alone like an island to themselves. So again, I don't have an answer for you guys on the SIA numbers. That's why I asked what y'all wanted it to be. I think I saw the document that was running around, but I wanted it on public record so that everybody could know that we ask for big dollars around here. Let's say it what it is. We need some money. And if we don't get this money, I might have to close a school. And if I have to close a school, then you might have this group hanging out with that group. And if you got that group hanging out with this group, we could have another shooting. It ain't like, this stuff ain't really happening. It ain't like we don't need, we don't need all the supports that we're getting. Everything that we're doing is about building up our school population. So I even tried to talk long. And I tried to keep going. As a preacher, I can normally just keep going and just talk for days, but I run out of stuff to say. And so, did they jump on? All right. Is there any other business that we need to address while we're here? No other business. All hearts and minds clear?
Yeah.
Okay. With that being said, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.